one of WWE's newest signings. Got a lot of buzz for this guy. This guy's one of the top independent wrestlers. Now he's transitioning to pro wrestling sports entertainment style. It's Kevin Steen. Thank you, Kevin, for taking time here. Wanted to ask you what is going on with you now, the training that you're putting in. What has it been like so far, the transition from what you have been doing to what you're doing now?
It's been pretty good. I mean, I used to train for wrestling all the time before I came here, so it's not too big of a difference. Obviously, some things are different. The Performance Center is, you know, professional wrestler's dream, really. You get in there, there's 7 different rings. I was lucky if I had one decent ring to train in for, 14 years before that. So that's definitely good. There's the strength conditioning room, the strength conditioning coach that we all have access to, and, the coaches. There's so much knowledge there that, it's unlike anything you've ever seen. So I'm really honored. I really appreciate the luck I have, because I feel lucky to be there. So far so good. 2
things. One thing you mentioned was being there, and you mentioned some of the places. I mean, it's no secret, a lot of the guys on the indie circuit, or anywhere for that matter, you might be in a warehouse, you might be in a basement.
Yeah.
What was it like for you the first time getting involved training, and where was it that you were training? Like, what was it like?
My very first place of training would have been in a barn, actually. It was in a barn in 1999. And the barn collapsed on the ring about a month after I started there, so nobody was in there, thankfully. And then I moved on to a different wrestling school that actually had a ring inside of a gym for about 3 years, until it actually switched over to a flea market. So we were training in a flea market with people shopping and buying junk. And then, let's buy a carpet here, let's buy some utensils here, and then let's go see the guys train for wrestling. We were like part of the attraction for that particular flea market, which I think was the point. Our trainer got, the room for free, so that was,
It evened off, right? It was trade-off.
Exactly. So it's not exactly comparable to the Performance Center, So.
But it's also like paying your dues.
Yeah, definitely.
Kevin, well, how did you get that break then after all those years? Because tell me if I'm wrong, has it been over 10 years?
I've been doing this for 14 years.
Started young?
Yes. On my 16th birthday, it was my favorite match. My first match, I should say. Sorry. Definitely not my favorite match. It's my first match on my 16th birthday, and 14 years ever since. Been all over the world. I've been in basements and nice venues, and I've been in terrible places, but I've enjoyed every bit of experience I've acquired up to this moment. And I guess my big break came when William Regal came to California to a Pro Wrestling Guerrilla wrestling show and saw me do my thing there, and he basically got the ball rolling for me to end up here.
I see you wearing a nice Sami Zayn t-shirt.
Of course.
And it's interesting because you've worked with Sami. What has it been like being here with Sami, and I guess maybe talking to him about what things to go through?
We actually really haven't been in contact that much, because he's been traveling with the main roster for a couple months now, and I really haven't had the chance to see him or talk to him. And although we've known each other for many, many years, we're actually I don't know, I don't want to say we're not close, but we're not as close as people might think, because we've been through a lot, in and out of the ring. So I'm wearing his shirt now because, I don't know, I didn't have anything better. Now, I don't have my own shirt yet. But, yeah, I mean, he was a huge part of my career. I was a huge part of his, too, whether or not he'd like to admit it. And it's actually really inspiring to see him here and see the success that he's all the things he's accomplished so far, and it keeps getting bigger and better for him. Until we get in the ring together, because then that might take things might take a drastic turn. Who knows?
Because I was going to say something like that, whether it's a Daniel Bryan or a Sami Zayn. Some of these guys that have come through the independent ranks and now are in NXT or WWE making it, it's got to make you and others like you feel good that that's happening.
I remember a specific moment last year with Daniel Bryan where it was after SummerSlam. He beat John Cena for the belt, the title, and Triple H took it away from him. Randy Orton ended up the champion. But they had Raw in Toronto not long after that. And Raw opened with Edge, the Cutting Edge segment with Daniel Bryan. And I remember watching in my living room, but the entire crowd, they weren't chanting yes, which is great. They were chanting Daniel Bryan. And I got teary-eyed because I know what Bryan's been through. I know, you know, I was there for some of it, for some of all the work he put in to get there. That moment in particular, I remember I was so proud, even though I had nothing to do with it. You know, I felt so proud. And it's not just him; it's Cesaro, it's Rollins, it's Ambrose. Even though I don't know him personally, and we've only met once or twice, all those guys are really paving the way for Zayn, Neville, you know, and me. Yeah, it's definitely a good feeling. Absolutely.
You were trained, one of the trainers was WWE legend Jacques Rougeau.
If you want to call him a legend, sure.
I'll call him a legend. So, what was it like, though, learning from him? Was he one of your first coaches, trainers?
I mean, I had one coach before him, the coach that ran the wrestling school in the barn. His name was Serge. Very good guy, very, you know, he never wrestled in WWE, or if he did, it was only as, you know, enhancement talent. But he was a very nice guy, very capable wrestler, and he did as good as he could for that month. Then I moved on to Jacques Rougeau's wrestling school, and I mean, Jacques helped in some aspects, but to be completely honest, he actually didn't have that much to do with the actual training. His name was on the his name was on the flea market sign, on, you know, where the ring was. He
was putting his name behind it,
but
and then he had other people trained.
There was someone else, a guy named Eric, who really, if people ask me who was my actual trainer, I would say Eric Mastrocola was his name, and he was just someone that Jacques had trained before, and he took over the wrestling school for Jacques, and he did a great job. He's a very good guy, very talented wrestler. He still wrestles back home, and you know, I'm kind of happy I get to give him credit. I don't know if he's, you know, ever going to get to see this, but
he'll see it.
He helped out a lot. So I would say he was more my trainer than Jacques, but most people think, well, most people say Jacques is my trainer
because Jacques the one that was on the right. It was his school and everything like that and all. But you did get some essence of Jacques because the guy who trained Jacques trained.
I did.
Was the guy that trained.
Jacques would oversee the training, even though he wasn't in the ring. And you know, if I got something from him, it was probably, I don't know. I got the value of talking. You know, talking. When I started wrestling, I didn't necessarily think that talking would take me very far, but he made a good deal of his success from talking. Of course, I've told the story before. Steve Austin, I met him at an airport in 2005. He's really the one who opened my eyes to how important running my mouth was, because that was his quote. I met him at an airport. I'm like, do you have one piece of advice for me? It's like, just run your mouth. And I started doing that even more at that point, and it really did help. But Jacques Rougeau was always a big talker, loud mouth, and you know, I got that from him. So he did help. That's absolutely.